Pump it up. Pump that spirit up.
Pump that podcast spirit up. Keep it up.
Oh, yeah. Welcome to Weddings Uncensored. No, fuck that. Oh, yeah. Welcome to Weddings Uncensored, where we drink and talk and drink. I'm Kyle.
And I'm Allie, and we are here breaking down the good, the bad, and the downright crazy of this whole industry. Cheers. And happy Tuesday.
Happy Tuesday, isn't it?
Tuesday. And we haven't even been drunk yet.
I feel like that's my favorite, UK or London thing to say.
What does that mean? They call it Tuesday?
Yeah, Tuesday.
No, I understand that it rhymes with Tuesday.
No, it's not that. It's just rhymes. That's how they say Tuesday. Tuesday.
Oh, that's cute.
And then I don't know where Steph and I got it from, but definitely when we go out there.
When we do our Australian, no. Oh my God. Our accents are just. If anyone needs a really good impersonator or
people are gonna think we're really
skills,
racist. I've been wanting to do a Vietnamese one, but I definitely can't do it.
Okay. Well, don't do that.
I know.
We can make fun of the Brits, but we can't make fun of anybody else. And on that note, welcome.
Well, today we are talking about bars.
Wedding bars.
Bartenders, bottle service. Drinks. And there really is no better person to have as our guest today than the renowned Allie from not only Pop the Champagne, but Bottle Service as well.
Yes.
Can you give a little background to our viewers who are tuning in for the first time today?
Yeah.
Because we have so many new followers these days.
We actually do, which is really lovely.
It's great. But give the people a little background of how you got in the industry.
For sure. So I, we talk a lot about my planning and coordinating on this podcast, but I do also own an event bartending business. It has been around for going on 4 years now. I originally, before I got into weddings and events, I have always been in hospitality, have worked in many bars and restaurants. So it's always kind of been a thing. But Bottle Service, my bar company, was born during the pandemic.
Ooh,
I know,
COVID baby.
Like so many wonderful things that happened in 2020.
Oh my God, COVID was fantastic.
It sure was. It really came out of necessity because we were planning weddings that were really, really small. Like we had to keep the number of humans on site really tiny.
Micro weddings.
Like the number of guests, the number of vendors, the number of staff, everything. So as a coordinator, I was like, okay, how can I, basically serve my clients and have this make sense from a business perspective for me? Why don't I have someone from my own team kind of run bar? And I mean, at the time we were sort of doing staffing, catering, whatever we had to do. As a planner, I was the florist, I was the DJ, So that's kind of where it was born, and then has grown over the last few years, which is awesome. Yep. We do a lot of weddings, but we do corporate events, social events.
Love it.
Parties on yachts. Album release parties.
Yeah.
So it's fun from my event
Litty
planning.
titty events.
We do lots of that's what it should really be called. Litty titty events. For someone who mostly does weddings but likes all kinds of events, the bar company has been really nice for me to stretch my event planning wings again too, because we do so many kinds of other things other than weddings too. But today we'll focus on weddings.
Yes. Sounds good.
And most weddings have a bar.
I would say most really good weddings.
Yeah.
Actually, all great weddings that I've been to
have booze.
They have booze.
Yeah.
It's a thing you gotta have. You know?
It is a thing you gotta have.
Even if you don't drink, your guest experience will want to drink.
I would agree with that statement. We a few years ago, my planning company had a wedding that was a dry wedding, so there was no alcohol.
Okay.
And they also had no dessert because this couple didn't drink and didn't eat sugar. And they literally told me, they were like, sugar and alcohol are not a part of our lives, so they will not be a part of our wedding. And I was like, okay.
Yeah.
And literally everyone left after dinner.
Not surprised.
Like hours before it was supposed to be the end.
Not surprised.
I know, it sounds judgy, but like at least if you're not going to have drinks, have some cake for people.
Yep.
Can you imagine
Something.
going to a wedding and not
kind of
having
dessert.
any?
No.
That's it.
I mean, I say it all the time now, and I'll say it again. Your wedding guests are like toddlers.
Yeah.
The fact that you just said no juice.
Yeah. No crackers.
And no candy.
Yeah.
Yo.
Yeah.
No toddler wants to go to any event with no juice and no candy.
Right?
No motivation. I know go.
Yeah. I know go.
I know go.
I know go.
I know go.
Yeah. I mean, the booze is a big part. And I think, obviously much respect to all the people that don't drink. Mocktails are becoming super popular. In fact, in our bar service menu, we do have a whole mocktail section. We do events that only serve that sometimes. So
Can you give an example of what that is?
what a mocktail is?
So everyone that doesn't know, yes, this is the podcast where we drink and talk and drink. But Kyle knows nothing. Absolutely nothing about alcohol.
Very true.
Or non-alcoholic beverages other than what a toddler seriously would know. Juice, water,
yeah,
coffee,
milk. Do your toddlers drink a lot of
other
coffee?
juices.
It's true. I actually forget often how ignorant Kyle is when it comes to the alcohol. Illiterate's a better word than ignorant, I guess. But in fact, he was in Nashville a week ago, and he texted me, "What should I order at the bar?"
I did.
Texting me from a bar. This is a grown man. And by the looks of you,
Oh my god!
I don't know why the look of you screams, "I know how to order a cocktail," but
Oh, thank you.
but you don't.
No, I fucking don't.
Looks can be deceiving,
It's
unfortunately.
like the black James Bond comes up and it's just like, what should I order?
It's like this is the saddest text I've ever gotten from somebody at a bar in Nashville.
I don't regret sending you a text. My Moscow Mule was fantastic. Thank you for the suggestion.
Oh my gosh. Okay,
it was the first drink of many. Anyway, let's get back.
This is good because you are so illiterate when it comes to drinking. So we'll take it a step back. But a mocktail would be considered a drink that is a little bit more fun and feisty than, say, a Coca-Cola or a juice. So we're using ingredients that we would use for a cocktail, like fresh fruits and herbs and scratch-made simple syrups and
it's an adult juice. The
something
alcohol.
a little bit more elevated. Maybe we've got some kind of like herbaceous.
It looks fancy.
It looks fancy.
It looks like a cool cocktail.
Really all that matters.
Yes.
So that's actually a huge movement right now, and we're very supportive of mocktails.
Sounds good.
Yes.
Love it. I mean, I think bottle service or a bar service at a wedding should be more than just obviously alcohol, because there are going to be the people like me that don't know
1,000%.
or just don't want to have alcohol. There should at least be an option or a few options other than Coke and Sprite and root beer.
Right.
To drink something.
Yeah, I agree. And there's lots of people that don't drink. And I think it's actually one of the questions I think on our list that we're going to get into.
Oh, yeah. We have a list here.
Okay. We can just hop into the list.
Okay,
and then
good.
I'll circle back. I'll circle back on my note.
And full transparency, because Kyle knows nothing about bar service, this list of questions is from our professional Allie.
Well, it's from the World Wide Web.
It's from the World Wide Web with the inspiration of Allie. Of questions that you should be asking
a bar service
for your wedding.
Yes.
So these are questions you should be asking. I'll do a quick flyby of all the questions just so we can have it for a reel for people. And then do you want to go through all the questions?
Sure.
Okay. Questions. Are you full service? What is a cash bar versus an open bar? What kind of physical bar space do you need? How does setup and cleanup work? Will there be wine service or a champagne toast? How many bartenders are needed for an event? How do you select signature cocktails? What is tipping protocol? What rentals are needed? Are there options for non-drinkers? And are there rules we need to be aware of? Self-service, shots, last call. So our first question is, are you a full service?
Yes. So
what does that mean?
It was kind of an abbreviated question, but so if you are hiring a bar service for your wedding, likely it's not included with your caterer or with your venue, right? So some venues are going to have that all kind of included. Catering can offer it as well. It could be pieced together. You could be doing kind of a DIY situation. So as you're shopping around, there are very full service bar services, which is just like if you hired a full service caterer. They're coming with all of it. They're coming with the booze. They're coming with the mixers. They're coming with the garnishes, cups, ice, straws, napkins.
Anything to provide
literally
and make the product.
everything. It could be the physical bar that they're bringing. It could be like, I mean, obviously the bartenders, right? So like, do you need to worry 0% because this service is going to come in and literally do all of it? Or there's varying degrees below that, right? So like, I'm going to provide everything, but the client's going to provide the alcohol, or there's services that will just provide bartenders. So there's kind of, you can kind of find a service that fits what your needs are. And full service would be considered including alcohol as well.
Okay.
A lot of people will want to do BYOB because they think that it will save them money versus doing a full service where the bar company is bringing alcohol.
Okay.
And that can be true for sure. You can save money by buying your own alcohol. So if that's important to you, but do factor in the fact that it is a giant pain in the ass to go have to buy cases and cases and cases.
It takes more time too.
So much time. Where are you going to store it? How is it going to get to the venue that day? So is it worth saving $400 if now dad has to load up a truck on the day and do all this stuff? You know what I mean?
Like is it do you really want to pay $400 so that your dad can actually enjoy the wedding?
Yeah.
Or the guest who's supposed to be handling all the liquor can actually enjoy the wedding?
Exactly. So with everything in wedding planning, right? It's going to cost you time or money.
Yep.
So will it save you some money? Yes. Will it be an astronomical amount of money? No, I don't think that there's like that huge of a difference. So just basically, as you're kind of looking at your bar needs, like a service should be able to fill in the gaps.
Okay.
And just know that like if the service says, well, we'll provide the bartenders, but you have to provide everything else. Like, really, what does that mean? Because the list of things that we bring to an event are so extensive. And we have fine-tuned it for years to make sure that we're bringing the right quantities, that we're bringing the right supplies. And trust me, you really just don't want to do it yourself.
It sounds like a pain.
It's a lot.
I mean, you have to think of the
ice
logistics
scoops,
too.
bar mats, all of the personal bar tools. There's a lot that goes into it. So,
Okay. Sounds good.
Yep.
On to the next one is what is a cash bar versus an open bar?
Yes. Do you know the answer to that?
I think a cash bar is where the guests will come up and pay for their own booze.
Good job.
And an open bar is a free bar paid by the couple or somebody else.
Paid by somebody.
for either a certain amount of time or a permanent amount of time.
Yes, that is all very true.
Let's go.
So it's something that I've learned like over the years of the industry, like around here, and maybe it's the weddings that like we do as, coordinators and whatever, but it's like almost always an open bar. It's very rarely a cash bar. Yeah. There are some venues that will have it be an open bar for a certain amount of hours and then switch to a cash bar at the end. But just know that if you are looking for a bar service and you are intending on having guests pay for drinks, that is not something that a lot of bar services do, at least in the state of California. And obviously we have listeners all over, but it's a whole different license that you have to be able to sell drinks on site. And like 90% of mobile bars do not have that license.
Gotcha.
So that could limit what you're looking for and what your options are if that's something that you're looking to do.
So you're saying the venue, like some venues aren't even allowed to sell?
Yeah, selling alcohol to guests is a whole different liquor license that most people don't have.
Oh, I see. I see.
So if your venue already has a bar service, like it might already be in there. But if you're shopping around, or if this is something that you want to do, like say I'm bringing it all in, but I want my guests to pay for the last 2 hours, that may or may not be something that is available. Yeah. So just keep that in mind. I mean, I am certainly of the mindset that like you should pay for drinks for your guests, at least to some degree. Sure. If you can't afford to offer signature cocktails and top shelf liquor, like just offer beer and wine or whatever. Like it's okay. Something. But to me, it's very to make guests pay for their drinks. But what I was going to say, the more that I've learned is there are, like in the UK, it's like they all pay for their own drinks. It's like unheard of for guests to have like an open bar.
Yeah, no, the last one I shot, everyone was paying for
paying for it. Yeah.
And it wasn't a question. It was just like, you go pay for your drink.
Totally.
You want a drink, go get one.
Yeah. So I am, wise enough to know that. Yeah.
Yes, we're flabbergasted here in the U.S.
I know that is not a thing everywhere, but in my humble opinion, you should be paying at least for some booze for your guests. Yeah.
Okay. No, that sounds good. Next question is, do you need, or how much and do you need of a physical space for your bar?
Yes. So I love this because this is a problem we run into all the time. People are like, yeah, my venue has a bar and it's like a 6-foot bar and you have 200 people and we have 4 bartenders coming and like, no, it does not work. So
6 feet for 4 people.
No.
200 guests.
None of the above match up.
No.
So, we basically say the ideal is between 3 and 4 feet per bartender. Mm-hmm. So if you have 2 bartenders, you should have minimum 6 foot up to an 8-foot bar. If you're going to have 4 bartenders, you should have maybe 2 separate bars that are 8 feet or however you're doing, but basically 3 to 4 feet of workspace per bartender. Also know that it's just a low table isn't ideal. A lot of bar services will require that there is what we call like a double level or multi-level bar where it's easier for there's workspace.
It's like
down
a place
here,
to like
we're
lean
serving.
on.
It's also a place for guests to lean on. Fuck the bartenders and their workspace.
I'm gonna wait right here.
Kyle wants some place to put his little
have some small chat with you.
Put his little head on
as you're making my Shirley Temple.
Yeah. Did you know that you can have a dirty Shirley? That's a Shirley Temple, but with vodka.
I'll try it next time.
That would be up your alley, actually.
Really? A dirty Shirley?
Well, it's just sweet, and you like that.
Wait, is there a...
and it's kind of cute to order it.
Not Arnold Palmer.
Arnold Palmer.
No, not that one. No. What's the one with grenadine and Coke?
Oh, Roy Rogers.
Roy Rogers. Is there a dirty Roy? Why
dirty
is it so
Roy.
Roy.
I like just a dirty Roy.
A vodka Coke.
Vodka Coke
grenadine?
Is like only something that people have in high school. So.
Oh shit. Okay. All right. Dirty Roys are not a thing. All right. Okay.
Anyway. But yeah, talk to your bar service and think reasonably, like, do they need a back bar? Whereas if you're having glassware, they need more space for that. If you are having, more than just
where
beer.
Where are you putting the glasses or the cups? Or,
if you're just having beer and wine, we might need less space, so kind of thinking about how it's all related to how many guests you have, how many bartenders you have, what you're serving, and then aesthetically, what you want it to look like. But a bar looks really shitty when it's all like packed in and no one has any workspace and it gets really messy really fast.
And I think of like all the cocktail hours specifically is where I'm thinking of this. And yes, sometimes at the reception too, I can usually see obviously one place to get a bar, but sometimes there's usually 2. But if you have a larger wedding guest, most of the cocktail hours that I see that are successful and people are really happy is if there's at least 3 different stations for people to go get a drink.
Yeah, spreading it out if you have a higher guest count is super important. Because even if you have 4 girls working, I say girls because we have an all-female team. Even if we have 4 bartenders working, but it's one bar, like it's just gonna get congested, right? Like
it's gonna get crowded. The line gets fuller and it lines back up versus like, I don't know, visually as a guest, I'm like more excited the fact that, there's more places to go
it looks
versus
smoother.
One massive fucking rush.
Absolutely. And cocktail hour is definitely like the problem child of wedding bartending. It's when 150 guests all need a cocktail at the same time and it's fucking urgent. We all need a drink right now. So another tip for that is just to either have bar or catering staff actually tray pass some beer and wine.
Oh, nice.
Or some signature cocktails or something like that to kind of ease that congestion at the cocktail hour bar.
Perfect. Sounds good. Next question is, how does setup and cleanup work?
Yes. So this is another really important question to ask when you're searching for bar companies, because sometimes they'll say, this is a 6-hour package. Okay, well, what does that mean? Is that 6 hours of bar service? Does that include
your setup and
cleanup? If you think about a standard wedding timeline, we have ceremony, guest arrival, ceremony. Cocktail hour is probably not starting until an hour's worth into the event time, right? And then you probably want everything set up before that because you probably, depending on your venue, but you probably don't want your bar service setting up during your ceremony, especially if it's all in one space. So you do need to think about how that will work. Like, we're super flexible with how we do the setup and cleanup. We don't charge for that time. We don't charge for the time if the bar is basically idle from guest arrival through cocktail hour. We don't charge for any of that because as a wedding coordinator, I know how that flow goes.
That's nice. Yeah.
So our like hours of service is when we're actually just serving drinks, and we don't charge for any of those other hours that we're on site. So sometimes a 5 or 6 hour bar service can
like
really be like a 9-hour event for our bartenders. But that's what we know we need to make a successful event, and we don't want to nickel and dime our clients. So
no, for sure.
It's just things to think about, and there's nothing wrong with a bar service. It's like, this is a 4-hour package. Okay, well, is that really the right amount of time, and what does that include? So just make sure you're looking at your timeline, talking to your coordinator, and, making sure that makes sense.
And I think too, doesn't sound like every bar service will offer that free setup time and takedown time. So
yeah, and if you're paying a bartender by the hour, which is common, it's $40 an hour, $50 an hour, whatever for just a bartender. Okay, so are you going to pay them that if they're not working? Does that include the setup? Yeah. So
because I mean, if someone, I can understand respectfully if someone was like, oh, like if you want me to have everything set up, I need to be working
and be paid for that.
Yeah, exactly. So it's not uncommon, and it wouldn't be like, ooh, I don't like you because you would be charging a certain amount.
No, and everyone should be paying for what they're worth and what they're there for. Yeah. We essentially, we're getting paid for it, right? We're just working that into our price because I know that that's how events work, and so we're respectful of that. And it feels more nickel and dimey to be like, well, this is the charge, and then this is the charge, and then like it's just silly to me.
Just learning in general, I'm sure most clients prefer to just give me the price with everything.
This is it.
You don't need to give me the price, and then if I want to add all these things that I know I'm gonna want,
you're gonna need those things.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Just give me what you.
We
think
love transparency.
Is best. Yes, 100%. Okay, will there be wine service or a champagne toast?
Yes. So another good one so wine service. Do you know what that means?
No.
Okay.
No idea.
So you might offer wine at the bar, but wine service or tableside wine service, dinner wine service is what you would have while guests are seated for a meal. Okay. And you had wine glasses on the table. Like if you think of a set place setting, it's probably got china and silverware, water glass, and wine glass at the table. If you want someone to go around and pour wine at dinner,
that's a wine service.
That's called wine service, but that's like, who's going to do that? Is there that staff? Is the bar closing so that the bartenders can go around and do that? Also, you will need a significant amount more of product to make that happen. So if we have,
assuming everybody wants wine.
You're assuming everyone's going to have at least one glass of wine. Whereas at the bar, we don't make that assumption. There's a lot of people that don't drink wine. So we have not to get too granular, but the industry average, like at weddings, is about 20% of guests will drink wine.
Oh.
So
I didn't know that.
Yeah. So when we're making our calculations of what we're bringing it based on that, right?
I see.
So now we're offering wine service at dinner. Well, now that's 100% of your guests that are going to get a glass of wine. So that is going to change a lot. Same thing for champagne. So if you want a formal champagne toast, whether that's poured at dinner, whenever you're doing that, working it into your timeline, that is extra glassware, extra service, who's going to pour, and then a shit ton of extra product. Because otherwise, if you're just serving it at the bar, it's not that many people that drink champagne.
Yeah.
So
that makes sense.
You can do it, but just make sure you're asking all those questions and make sure you're accounting for the rentals, the product, the service, the timing, all of those things.
Okay. Well, I'm glad you asked that question. I had no idea.
It's a very common one that comes up. And also, you don't have to have wine service and you don't have to have a champagne toast.
For some people, you don't have to have a bottle service, but that's just weird.
Well, you don't. You don't need to have any of it. No. But no, people will. Honestly, I just think sometimes champagne toast and wine service can end up being really wasteful because if someone comes around and pours me a glass of wine, I'll drink it.
I'll take it.
Yeah, but I'm probably ordering vodka sodas from the bar. So it's just a lot more product that isn't super necessary.
Yeah.